Hey guys, I'm going to do a quick overview of all the knives I own, so permanent collection update. They're all in front of me on the table, except for one, which is the Benchmade 940. That's on loan to a friend who may well decide to purchase it from me, and in that event I will then replace it almost immediately with either a 940, 941 or 942. That'll be a decision for that day if it comes. Anyway, let's look at what I actually have, and I'll give a few brief thoughts as I go across them. Alrighty, so here they all are. Let's start off with this. This is the Victorinox Explorer. All knives on the table, not even my multi-tools today, so all pocket knives. This is the Victorinox Explorer, which is my favourite configuration of the Swiss Army knife. It's got just enough weird and wonderful wacky tools in there. So it's got the eyeglass screwdriver, it's got the scissors, it's got the 3D Phillips, but it's still not too huge this way. So I really like this model, and I've got no intentions of getting rid of this one. I've been through a few, and when I stopped on this tool set, I found myself happy. This is the Alma Falcon. I've stopped carrying this one as much. It's a good little knife, really lightweight. I love a good slim knife. Slim as in this way, slim. But yeah, the steel in it, and I do try not to over sharpen it, but geez, it still goes dull quickly, the AUS8. Still, even when it is dull, it's still a good mover and shaker because it's so damn thin. And it does really good work with food prep and things like that, but just sort of, it's on the tail end of its time as a knife in service. I think I'm going to retire it fairly soon. It's had a good year, and I've enjoyed using it a whole bunch, but there's other things that have sort of started to take its place, like this next knife. What we got there? Dropped in something. This is the Falcon U2. This is another sort of great option for a discreet, ultralight little knife. Weighs about the same as the Alma Falcon. Super gold powder steel in it, which, as you see on my edge retention videos, is one of the top 10, probably about the 7th best I've had so far. 291 passes through the rope. Not super expensive either, this knife. About $100 you'll pay for it in Australia for one of the best steels going, so maybe 110-ish, 120 if you're unlucky, but yeah, great knife, great deal, very simple, no pocket clip or anything, very simple lock back. Fit and finish isn't amazing. It's got like a little bit of just catchiness there, but nothing terrible either. So love the Falcon U2. It's a great little knife. I had one of these, and then I sold it, and then I had to just go and get one again because A, I wanted to do a steel test on it, and B, it was a sorely missed piece. So yeah. And next one here on the other extent of the scale is the Benchmade Contago. Just did a steel test with this. The M4 steel in this one holds a great edge. This is a really big, comfortable knife. Probably preferable to use gloves if you're using it for extended periods of time, just because the jimping's quite rough. But in terms of ergonomics, fits fantastically in my hand. This big choil here fits two of my sort of largish hands. Two of my fingers in quite well. Yeah, very good knife. Axis lock is awesome. Steel is awesome. I think it looks really cool. It looks like a 940 on steroids. I love that blade. Nice long flat bit there. Still a little bit of belly. Reverse Tano tip. Awesome knife. Love it. Expensive, $300 in Australia, but you think about it, a Benchmade 940 is the same price, and you're getting M4 steel and a whole lot more knife. Next up is the SOG Vulcan. So this is my newest acquisition, and I'm still not sure if this is an ugly knife or a good looking knife. I'm still trying to work that out, but it's a very good knife in hand, very comfortable handle, and it's a very fun arc locking mechanism. So the arc lock feels a bit like using an axis lock, but then it is a bit different. It sort of pulls back towards the spine of the knife a bit. It's about the same in terms of ease of sort of maneuverability and operation, but yeah, it's a little bit different too. So it's sort of a, you'd know it if you felt it. It's got a flipper, which is more of a launcher, I think. I don't think they're saying this is like a zero tolerance style or Kaiser style flipper. I think this is more of a bit of wrist action going on there if you're going to use that, but otherwise the thumb side's perfectly fine. Fair recurve on the blade, so this one was destined to be sharpened on the work sharp. I really like it though. The thing with this knife, it's too expensive for what it is. It's only VG10 and FRN really. So if you think of what Kaiser will do similar materials for about $100, VG10 and G10 even here on the Dukes, not my knife, but in for review, $190 is too much money, even if it is made in Japan, if that makes a difference or not. So yeah, that's a couple of criticisms I will have on the knife. It's not going to be a perfect review, but I like it. I like it plenty. So the next one is the Spyderco Spidey Chef, and this is one of my all-time favourite knives. Just nice and weird and really well made. Got some great steel. The LC200N doesn't rust, literally doesn't rust. And titanium handles. It's just a very simple frame lock really in design, but then it's got a couple of cool shapes, cool geometries that make it a really, really unique and cool knife. I love how the knuckles are about level with the blade. Great for bench top work, great for food prep, really good slicing knife. Excellent stuff, the Spidey Chef. Expensive again though, you probably pay about $270 for the Spidey Chef. Kaiser Gemini, S35 VN and titanium for about $200. Really, really good flipping action. One of the better flippers I've got. Flips like a much more expensive knife. Nice contoured titanium handles. The pocket clip's a little bit lame, like it's just a bit of an afterthought, but they've redone this now. I think they've done it with sculpted titanium, which again, probably not my favorite, but I just like these sorts of clips really, like the wire clips. But yeah, everything else about this knife is absolutely fine. The steel holds a good edge. It's a good treatment of the S35. Got a nice full flat ground blade. Great, just EDC knife. Just fancy enough to be able to carry it pretty much anywhere, but not really intimidating looking either. It just looks like a pretty harmless little smoothed off round rock that you keep in your pocket. It's really good knife. Wife loves it too, so sticking around. The 0220 by Zero Tolerance. I got this one, and I generally don't. I try to keep my collection about this size, so I got rid of the 0562 when I was sort of confirmed that this one was really, really good. And once I made sure the steel on this one lasted a good long time in my edge testing, which it did. So S35 VN, titanium frame lock flipper, very similar to a lot of knives being made at the moment in terms of specs and whatnot, size, but it's got excellent ergonomics, kind of like a arced down pistol grip style handle, really, really comfortable. One of the most comfortable knives I've done the cut test with so far, easily. Really, really good blade. Blade has a slight recurve in it, which is a little bit annoying. I'd like for that to have gone, and I think over time it probably will go as I continue to sharpen it. So there you go. Everything else about it, though, great lockup. Love the orange backspacer. Very, very cool. The JX6, this is kind of the only fixed blade I would say is an EDC knife. A bit of a saga behind this one, as we all know. It ended up being A2, but still a very, very good knife. There's nothing wrong with it being A2, it's just that it was mislabeled as 154, CPM 154. But you know, you can watch my previous videos to see how that all played out. The guts of it is though the knife is still really, really good. It's a great knife in hand. Sheath works really well. You can carry it sort of diagonally or just vertically up and down. It's got a rare earth magnet in it to keep the knife retained, and it is just a whole, overall just a really good package, I think, even for it being A2 steel, which is completely fine. Held a great edge in my edge retention tests. Next one is the Cold Steel American Lawman. Another one a bit like the Falcon even U2. I had it at one stage, then I sold it for something I can't even remember, and then I got it again in this dark earth configuration. This is one of the all-time just honest, decent working knives. Not a great deal of excitement to be had here, but a couple of variable grips. You've got a very thin, lightweight, but strong design. Great blade shape. One of the best blade shapes going, I think. And great steel, CTS XHP for, you know, this is the SOG Vulcan's problem again. $160, $190 for materials that are just overall so much better. So anyway, only thing I don't like is that it's a bit of a grabber there, a little bit of a space in there. It can might grab onto my keyring or whatnot, which is not the end of the world. And I do wish they'd just have the pocket clips swappable. It just bugs me about Cold Steel with the two pocket clip things, but overall it's an excellent knife, and it's the one I sort of recommend as a go-to for people who want a good working knife but don't want to be freaked out by unfamiliar locking mechanisms or anything like that. It is really just a glorified back lock, the triad lock. So there you go. The Benchmade 940, sorry, not 940, 5551, the Griptilian full size. This is one in CTS 20 CV and G10 handles. Again, like it's, you know, $100 more than the SOG, but you get, you know, a crazy good steel. It's, you know, a very similar locking mechanism, that sort of stuff. Very good knife, very, very good knife. Again, it's probably towards this side of the scale of being a bit less exciting, but then, as with any Benchmade, it's still got a bit of fidget factor. Great deep carry clip, Very little is actually wrong with this knife at all, and it's much more comfortable for me than the original mini grip version of this that I had, which I ran out of space here. It was just like it finished about there on my hand, and I always felt like I was slipping off of it. So much happier with the standard sized grip, and the steel is excellent. One of the best steels you can get at the moment, if not the best overall blade steel, because it really doesn't rust either. Excellent stuff. This one's the Hardcore Hardware MILF number 4. This is a knife I have in for review that they've sent me as a review sample, so I get to keep it, which is cool. Hardcore Hardware are a local Australian company. I don't think they're made, these knives aren't made in Australia though. I think they're made, what do they say? On their site, there's like a certain wording. So they're made in like first world countries, so but probably just a few different places. And then they're finished here in Australia, I believe. So whether that's just getting their final edges done or being put together or whatnot. At any rate, it's a big, beefy, overbuilt style folder in sort of the vein of like either a old school zero tolerance or like a Medford even. Quite thick. The blade stock is very thick indeed. Let's look at that next to a American Lawman, for example. Which is, a very hard-working knife, but it's, it's about probably 30% thicker than the Lawman there again. So very thick, beefy knife. It is a flipper, but it's geared more towards being like a durable flipper rather than a ball bearing style super flash flipper. That being said, it does flip open with very few problems. When it's brand new, you need a little bit of wrist, but then it wears in. You can just dial this back a little bit here and make it so it's nice and nice and flippy. I like the Wharncliffe style blade. That's when they said, which one do you want to play with? I said, the Wharncliffe please. I haven't had a Wharncliffe knife and they are very popular at the moment and it would go well with all my other stuff. So stainless steel, G10 S30V steel for about 270 bones, I understand. These are coming out at the start of October. And yeah, so you're paying probably about zero tolerance prices for probably a bit more actual amount of stuff like mass, but then perhaps the material is not as flash, so not titanium stainless steel. It's heavy, it's big, it's strong, it's super tough. It's going to be either for you or definitely not for you. And yeah, I've got it as a review piece. I probably wouldn't buy knives like this in my own sort of way of knife shopping, but because it was sent to me as a sample, it's cool to experience a knife that I probably wouldn't buy. So I can definitely still comment on how well it's made without sort of probably being too glowing on like, it hitting personal design requirements for me. Anyway, overall, it seems pretty cool at the minute. And then last of all, I shouldn't really end on this knife because this knife is a bit of a sad story. This is the Viper Keeper in D2, which ended up being a really poor iteration of D2. Just couldn't get it to its edge to last in my edge cutting test, even with workshop edges with nice V ground edges. Just couldn't get it to work. So bit of a shame there, and also it came quite off center as well. The funny thing is, I still like the knife, and I like having it in my collection, and I don't think I'm going to get rid of it. I think I'm going to keep it. It's because it's strange, it's different. It's got the most comfortable handle easily I've ever had on a pocket knife, just nice and round, and it is a good slicer. It's nice, thinly ground. It's a good cutter when it's sharp, and it's got a good pocket clip. There's good here. It's just a couple of real staggering points, which was a bit unfortunate. Anyway, so that's my folding pocket knife collection. They're the ones that I actually own. I've got some loaners in, so I've got this Kaiser Dukes in, which is, I think a review should be up today or tomorrow for that. This is a great little knife. I've got Victorinox folding Hunter in. A couple of other little things here and there. I've got a new Native 5 and S90V coming in the next couple of days as well. So that should be something to look forward to as well, especially cut test wise, getting some S90V on the table, finally. So, hope you've enjoyed. Those are my knives. I know it's not the biggest collection in the world, but I do try and curate it, keep it at about 12 knives or something if I can help it, because otherwise things just get a little bit crazy. Alright dudes, I'll see you all in the next video. Bye now.